What is going on, Jets fans? Appreciate you stopping in. I'm excited for this one, talking about the Jets' defensive line rotation. I hope it's an active one in the comments because it's a really interesting conversation. There's a lot of different ways we can take it, and let's get into the weeds on this one here. So, obviously, it's been a hot topic of how the Jets are rotating their defensive line and how often they're playing their top dogs. But only so much complaining that you can do before you propose a viable solution of your own. And Michael Nania took to Jets Twitter, and right here is the solution that he proposed. A big move being JFM inside with some other tweaks of snap percentages. And spoiler alert, Michael Nania knows more about football than the Buffalo Jet fan, but that's never stopped me from giving my opinion before. So here's what I would propose. You got the Jets, that's plan A. Nania's plan B. Here is plan C by me, and I look forward to your plan D through Z in the comments below. So let's start at the edge positions. Now, Nania has the Jets bumping up Jermaine Johnson snaps to 50%. I'm going to bump it up even further. I'm going to give Jermaine Johnson 62% of these snaps at defensive edge. Because, number one, he might be the best run defending edge that we have on this team already, either he or JFM. And if you look at other rookies, pass rushers of his ilk, guys like George Karlaftis, who is playing well over 70% of the snaps for a better defense in Kansas City, and Jermaine Johnson has actually outperformed him in terms of production stats with way fewer snaps. So there's no reason, in my opinion, that our first round pick can't be on the field a little bit less than a third of the time. Jermaine Johnson, when he's been out there, good motor, good football IQ, has himself a half a sack, and he's been nasty against the run. JJ gets a bump. Now, Bryce Huff, I'm going to bring him off the pine, give him 38% of the snaps. We have all these snaps coming available because in a moment you're going to see I move JFM inside just like Nania did. Now, Bryce Huff, to me, he's got maybe the fastest get off of any Jets edge rusher. He doesn't have the ideal power or length to be an every down starter. He doesn't give you much against the run, but I think the Jets could really use some speed off the edge, and that will complement some of their power rushers. And where are his snaps coming from? It's going to eat a lot into Jacob Martin snaps, honestly. Now, when we signed Jacob Martin, I liked it, right? Jacob Martin was a good situational pass rusher in Houston last year. But guess what? Bryce Huff was a good situational pass rusher for the Jets last year before he got injured. And if you look at their 2021 seasons, on a per snap basis, Bryce Huff outperformed Jacob Martin in every single metric that you can measure. And Jacob Martin hasn't shown much in the first 3 games. I don't care how much money he's making. I'm not playing bookkeeper. I'm trying to win some games. So to me, I'm going to give, for a stretch of time, 38% of the snaps to Bryce Huff. You can't have Martin and Huff on the field at the same time too often because neither one of them give you a ton against the run. And I also want to give Huff enough snaps to get into a rhythm. Like, I'm not going to give Huff 15% and Martin 18%. No, I'm going to give the better of the two guys enough snaps to get into a rhythm and do their thing. And the other guy's just going to get peeled out of the rotation. That's how I see it. Now, on the other edge side, Carl Lawson, I'm going to bump him up to 71% of the snaps. I'm not going to go up to the high 70s or 80 because he's coming off of an Achilles. But I think that is a fair number to where you can keep him fresh, but you're still getting probably our most gifted pass rusher off the edge on the field close to 3/4 of the time, 71% for Carl Lawson. Then I'm right on the money with Nania here with Michael Clemens. Michael Clemens, 29% of the snaps. I like Clemens in the rotation too because I think when Huff is maybe spelling Johnson, then you can have Clemens in too because Clemens is also that big end run setter at 275 pounds, and now you're starting to develop your young guys as well. Clemens playing just under a third of the snaps as a 4th round pick, I think is perfect. Now, let's move into the defensive interior. And the first thing I'm going to do is Quinnen Williams is going to get a increase in playing time, close to 80%. I'm going to play him 78% of the time. Me and Nani are pretty much on agreement with this one here. And if you look around the league at guys like Jeffrey Simmons or Grady Jarrett, or obviously Aaron Donald in a stratosphere on his own, or Cam Hayward in his prime, Chris Jones, a lot of really good defensive tackles play 75 up to 80% of the snaps. And Quinnen Williams is playing in these first 3 games as well as any defensive tackle in the league not named Aaron Donald. He's right in his prime. That is a beautiful number, in my opinion. 78% of the snaps. He's our best defensive lineman. Let's get him on the field as much as we can. Then next to Quinnen, JFM. Only playing 50% of the snaps so far because of injury, and then he got yanked for a little bit after that dumb penalty. I'm going to give him 70% of the snaps. Now, the question isn't, is JFM worth his contract? The question is how much better is he than Solomon Thomas and Sheldon Rankins? And I would argue significantly better. And I like JFM inside because I like, number one, it opens up extra snaps for some of the guys we just mentioned, Huff and Johnson. All right, so now you're squeezing Martin out of the rotation, and now with JFM inside, you're going to see Nathan Shepard doesn't have to play anymore. Right, JFM, I'm going to give him 70% of the snaps, uses athleticism against guards and centers. I think that gives us a better pass rush overall unit with JFM inside and then bringing in some of these other guys to get more reps on the outside. And, you know, with Shepard, people say, oh, well, he's a big body. Well, I don't care about somebody's traits if their traits don't lend themselves to doing what those traits are supposed to do. It's like LaMarcus Joyner's a veteran. Well, he makes rookie mistakes, so who gives a shit? Nathan Shepard's a big body, but he doesn't play the run well. JFM is still a better run defending interior than Nathan Shepard. Obviously, he's a better pass rushing interior than Nathan Shepard. So JFM inside, Nathan Shepard is out. Now, we still need some backups, some reserves on the defensive interior. JFM with 70%, Quinnen with 78%. So that leaves us with 52% of the total defensive interior snaps left. And I'm going to give the bulk of those to Sheldon Rankins. I'm going to have him at 40% of the snaps. And I know he's frustrating last year, right? Didn't live up to the contract we gave him, especially against the run. But I think I'm a little higher on Sheldon Rankins than most Jet fans. I do think there is some tread left on the 28-year-old's tires and probably had his best game as a Jet against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm fine with him getting 40% of the snaps. Then Solomon Thomas, I'm going to bump him down. He's just kind of a guy. Honestly, he's a body. And 12% to spell the other top 3 defensive tackles, I think, is fine. And again, Nathan Shepard now not playing really at all. So that is how I would break down the Jets' defensive line unit. I think you move JFM inside. It opens up more snaps for guys like Jermaine Johnson and Bryce Huff. And I think you elevate the snaps slightly of your top 3 guys. You know, if you elevate between Quinnen, JFM, and Carl Lawson, these percentages, based on what compared to what the Jets have been doing, it would allow for those 3 to have over 350 more snaps over the course of a 17-game season. I mean, how many more sacks or tackles for loss or a interception because of a pressure or a fumble or a holding penalty caused because someone's trying to block Quinnen or Lawson? That could definitely, over the course of a 17-game season, be the difference between 1 or 2 games if the Jets are playing competitive football, which we all expect them to be doing when Zach Wilson comes back, right? So now your top guys are playing more, but then also your second stringers are playing more, and then they're squeezing out the guys that are not performing, like Martin and Shepard. And then at the end of the day, when it's close, I'm going to go with the young guys, all right? I'm going to play Jermaine Johnson, Bryce Huff, and Michael Clemens more, and guys like Solomon Thomas and Nathan Shepard and Jacob Martin less, because I believe the former guys I mentioned are a part of our future. So when it's close, I'm going to accomplish the goal of winning games now and developing our young guys. So that's the way I see the Jets defensive line shaken out. I know it's kind of a nerdy one on the numbers, but I think it's interesting. And we'll talk ball soon.